Welcome to the Norse Nexus. This is Rabbit. My cohort Lee is out of town this week, so I'll be doing this video myself. Today we're going to talk about the runes, where they sit in modern paganism, and how I feel about those. So, to start off, I've seen a lot of arguments online, back and forth, of whether the runes are magic, whether the runes are just historic. I believe they're both. I don't know why we're mincing fucking words here. I believe they're both. They're magic and they're historic. So for the historic side, the linguistic side, we know there were runes. We have rune carvings. We have rune stones. There were two main forms of runes used by the Norse, and then another set used by the Anglo-Saxon, and then a medieval set, and then a set used shortly after that, and then so on and so forth. For the Norse specifically, because I am a Norse pagan, we have the Elder Futhark, which is the first set of runes. Came about in the 2nd century, went to the 8th century. It's mostly straight lines, no curves, and there are 24 of those. That switched over to Younger Futhark in the 9th century to 11th century before it became medieval runes. These were 16 runes, so we shortened the 24, made it 16, and we started to add more inflection to the runes, some curvature to a little bit of them. More in line with like Anglo-Saxon runes, the twig runes, both short and long. So linguistically, that's what we know. We know they could be wrote back to front, up and down, as long as they were the right symbols. They could be read properly. I don't know how to read them properly. I'm not a linguist. As for the magic of the runes, we do have evidence in the Eddas. Historically, the Eddas aren't seen as a historic document or anything. So that's why I say that's more of a modern paganist thing, is to look to the Eddas. I'm more of a modern paganist, so I do look to the Eddas. I look to the Havamal. I look to the sagas, the stories, and the songs. More than what we've found, because again, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because we haven't found them doing divination work does not mean they weren't doing divination work. We know that the Germans did a form of divination work where they would do runes on sticks and throw the sticks on the ground and interpret them. I mean, what's different from the modern day rune? That's a messy rune, but you get my point. Personally feel we all need to stop fighting. The historics can do what the historics do. The moderns can do what the moderns do. Neo-pagans can do whatever neo-pagans do. I don't know why we're all fighting and why we have to be so structured and rigid with that. I really hate the term fake pagan or fakin'. Just because we want to do divination and we want to do rune magic, especially in the Eddas where we have that evidence. And I'm about to kind of show that now. Let me move that back some. So in the Eddas, and everything will be in the descriptions, as it usually is, because I'm going to butcher names. It's just what I do. We have Sigmund's son talking to the Valkyrie, Brunhild. She talks about many runes to use in a magic way. She talks about beer runes and victory runes, ale runes and helping runes, sea runes and limb runes, and mind runes. Specifically victory runes, because I have heard this well before I even started down my journey of reading the Eddas myself. Victory runes you must cut if you want to have victory, and cut them on your sword hilt. Some on the blade guard, some on the handle, and invoke Tyr twice. So there, Brunhild is saying, carve very specific runes in very specific ways to get the magic of those runes so that you may have a good day in battle. Again, we have sea runes. You must cut if you want to have guaranteed the sail horses on the seas. On the prow they must be cut, and on the rudder, and burnt into the oar with fire. However steep the breakers or dark the waves, yet you'll come safe from the sea. So here, Brunhild is saying, Carve and burn these runes into your ship, into your vessel, and you will always come home safe. To me, runes are very magical, and they're also very personal. The runes come from Odin. He gives them to us. He sacrifices himself to allow us to have them. He spears himself to the great tree and goes without food and water to scream into the void and grab up those mighty runes, those runes of knowledge and power. When I look to the runes, I think of a passage or a set of stanzas in the seer's prophecy, where 3 women came to the well of Urd, the 3 Norns, and there they took up branch bark, and they carved the runes of men, the fates of men. They sealed them. They sealed our fate in the web of the weird. So when I look to my runes for divination work, specifically, I ask for the Norns to give me guidance, because they are the carver of men's fate. Yes, Odin is the master of the runes and gave us the knowledge of the runes, and he's even the painter of the runes and the most expert in the runes. But the Norns carve our runes. So to me, when I ask divination work, I ask to the Norns. When I ask for Galdr work, I ask to Odin. And in the Havamal, Odin tells us rune songs that he knows that we must know. So let me go to that for you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will read some of it. I know the 16th song. If I wish from a witty maid to have all love and delight, the heart I turn on the white-armed woman, and I changed her entire mind. I know the 7th, that my love none will coldly shun, even the shy maiden. These songs will you, laud Fafnir, long be lacking, though it's to you you're good if you get them, useful if you take them, and needful if you receive them. These are rune songs that Odin has crafted, Galdr, that Odin has crafted, that would be good for men if we were to learn them, but we never will. We never will have that knowledge. Runes to me are most certainly magic. I've worked with runes for a while. I've cut my own. I've been in the woods preparing to get my own wood for runes. So, how do we make runes? I guess that's a good jumping off starting fucking point, right? How do we make them? Sitting here talking about them, fucking how do we make them? That's to each their own. Runes are energy based, so whatever connection you have, if you're a stone person, if you love amethyst and you love that magical energy of amethyst, much like crystals are energy work, right? You love the power of amethyst. Well, you should get amethyst and you should carve amethyst into runes. Whether they be large crystals, small crystals, rounded, it doesn't really matter. What we're using the runes for is to connect to the gods with Galdr. I believe Cedar also uses runes, so with Galdr and Cedar, or Cedar, again, hard for me to pronounce a lot of these words, we are looking to the gods for assistance. We are singing magical rune songs so the gods may give us that power. With divination, we're looking to the Norns to get a glimpse of our fate. As they are the carvers of fate, they are the only ones who know our fate. So when I close my eyes and I pull a rune, I need to have that connection with that material so that I can make that connection with that Norn. So that they can give me just a glimpse. Right? Because that's all we can ever really get. We can get a little help from the gods. We can get a little glimpse from the gods. And it's a gift for a gift. We give our energy to the Norns and they give us a glimpse. So whatever material you are strongly connected to, For me, it's wood. I only make wood runes. I could make stone runes. I know how to cut stone. I know how to carve into stone. I don't have that connection with stone. I use stone for my bind runes from time to time because I think they work really well for bind runes. Because they're strong, they won't break, they won't chip unless you're chucking them around. But since our fates are carved into bark from the mighty ash, from Yggdrasil, I feel like it's only fitting that our runes be carved from wood as well. Personally, that's my thought. For what that's worth. So, how do you find your material? Well, let's say your material is stone. Go off of me for a second. Your material is stone. Preferably beach stone. Well, when you go to the beach, just look around. The first one that gets your attention, grab it up. That's a rune. Second one that gets your attention, grab it up. Don't be picky. Don't overthink it. Let them work through you and get your stuff. Fucking figure it out that way. Don't, I don't know, fucking this one or that one, fucking whatever. Don't overthink that. Just pick the one. This one. That one. That one. Till you have 24 or 16 or however many you need for the runes you're carving. Right? When I get my runes, my rune material, I go out to the woods. I live out in the woods, that's why I'm pointing this way. But I go out into the woods and I just close my eyes, I open them, and then I look around. First one that grabs my attention, that's the one. I take it. I don't overthink it. I just grab it and take it. Well, then you come home and you sit with the material. I personally like to leave mine outside to get the energy of nature first. To each their own. You do it how you do it. You can take yours and put it in a salt bath to cleanse it completely. You can do sage on it first. Honestly, you should do sage on everything first. Personally, from my perspective, new boyfriend, new girlfriend, sage. Dog, sage. Got a new book, sage. This video, do some sage on this video. Cleanse this video for me, actually. I just get all the negative energy out first. Then you want to draw whichever way you want. Some people like to use charcoal. I use just a standard pencil. It works well for me. I don't have the best handwriting, so standard pencil works for me. If you want to mix a charcoal mud and do it by finger, that's perfectly fine. Really, you could take a sheet of paper, write all the runes on it, cut them out, put them in a hat, shake them about. As long as you have a good connection with the Norns, you should get what you're looking for the most part. You don't need fancy, expensive runes. You don't need to go overboard on the runes. That's personal choice. I like to go overboard on my runes because I like to have that deep connection with my runes. Once you've got that drawn on there, then you carve it, cut it, burn it, however you want to get that in there forever. Don't worry about them being perfect. Don't worry about them being perfect to everyone else. Make sure they're perfect to you. Because they're your runes. Right? It's your connection with them, alright? Fuck. I'm so fucking sick of hearing everybody say, oh, you can't use fucking resin runes. Because they're not fucking made from the earth. Well, resin is made from the earth. Through a chemical process, we can make resin. And that chemical comes from the fucking earth, alright? Everything's made from the earth. We ourselves are made from the earth. And stardust. Okay? Fucking use whatever you want. Do it how you want. As long as you have that connection, that's what's important. Sorry, kind of fucking lost it there. It won't happen. It'll happen again. I don't know why I'm lying to you guys. It's gonna happen again. Be careful when you're cutting your runes. You can get injured. It hurts. Just be safe, okay? Once your runes are embedded into whatever material you're doing, you can then bless them. There are many different ways. I will list a few. I will not go into any of them specifically, but we can always talk in the comments or privately if you want to message us privately. So, real quick, the ways we can connect with our runes or bless our runes in a way. You can bury them in the dirt and let them sit out for 24 hours. You can let them sit out in the rain. You can breathe on them each day, saying the name of the runes. You can blood them. You can sleep with them. You can bathe with them. Whatever you feel comfortable doing to give them your energy. Again, like everything else, like with offerings, with sacrifices, and runes included, it is a gift for a gift. If you want advice or guidance on tomorrow, and you seek that power from the Norns and from the runes, you need to give up something as well. So remember that. You will be giving these your energy. Now, that being said, when you're done with these, you have to dispose of them properly. Your breath itself, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your energy, everything that you are will be imbued upon these runes. And you don't want a bad character getting a hold of those, right? You just fucking... Anybody could do anything with them once they have your energy. I know that's kind of esoteric and whatever, but that's kind of how I deal with things. I believe in the magic of the power of the runes, and I believe in the energy transfer thereof. I also believe in the three soul, and we'll get into that in another video. So how do you want to dispose of your runes now that you've made and blessed and powered your runes, I guess? And again, you don't need to do any one specific way to power your runes. Someone's going to tell you you do. They are not telling you the full truth. I don't want to say they're lying, because they're not lying. They're telling you their preferred method. I have my preferred method. Everyone has their preferred method. You do what's comfortable for you, and you give it the energy you're willing to give it. So how do you get rid of the rune? Well, you can bury them. You can throw them back into the elements. You can disperse the sky runes to the sky. You can just throw them in the air, or burn them into smoke and disperse them in the air. You can fucking take the water runes and throw them into a river. You can take the ground runes, bury them. I personally don't think you should give anybody your runes unless it's a family member or a very close friend. Again, your energy's trapped in this stuff. Your life essence is tied to these now once you get done making them. So dispose of them accordingly. Burning, always good. Some might say, well, you can cleanse them and then you can send them out. And yeah, if you cleanse them real good, I'd say that's an option. I personally wouldn't do that myself. I fucking don't want anybody to have my energy. It's not a good idea. But you can always do whatever you want. Your beliefs are your beliefs. So now that we know about the runes and what we can do with the runes and how to work the runes, how do we use the runes? Well, I personally use the runes in divination. Other people can use them in Galder, like I said earlier. So divination, my go-to, just my general day-to-day, just like this. Norns, I ask you, please give me one sign, one symbol to help guide me through today. And that one. And I got Isa. Isa, to me, I've pulled many times, it means I'm going to have a bad day. And that's okay. There's no reason to get mad about your runes. Don't try to put your rune back and grab a new rune. That's not a good way to do it. It's just accept the rune. I understand that today is going to be a bad day. So I'll emotionally prepare for that. It's all right. It's all good. Got another chance tomorrow. So Isa means ice. Usually the end of things. So it very well could be talking about the end of this video. We're still a little early for that, but hey, I can hope. It definitely doesn't. I pulled Isa many times in my life. It means I'm going to have a bad day. Usually, not a bad day, stressful day for me. And that's another thing. Runes are about interpretation. Isa means ice. Could mean it's going to be a cold day. Let me get one of these ones. Aha! Here we go. Ansus. I don't know if you can see that very well. Ansus. Ansus means speaking to gods. So that might mean you're going to have a good connection with the gods, or maybe the gods are trying to reach out to you today. And maybe you should embrace yourself and be prepared for that. Or maybe it might mean you need to speak to the gods because you need that in your life. It's all about interpretation with this. Trust your runes, believe in them, and just go with the flow. There are many different pulls you can do. They're all online. I'm not going to get into all of them, but just, there's love runes, past, present, future runes, rune pulls. You could do your daily rune pull. You could do your financial rune pulls. There's all kinds out there. You can create your own rune pulls. It's all up to interpretation, really. All the rune pulls are doing is giving you more questions to ask with your one pull to the Norns. I personally just stick with my daily rune. I don't want to bother too much, So, we've talked about runes. We've talked about the historics of the runes. We've talked about the magic of the runes, how to make runes, how to cleanse runes, how to use runes, how to power runes. That being said, I will say, runes don't have to be powered at all. You don't have to give any energy to them at all. You can actively try not to. And they still should work. Just how well they're going to work is questionable. Right? I highly recommend doing something to give energy to your runes. And when I say power your runes, that's what I mean, give energy to. Even if it's just holding your runes each day, take 3 of them and hold them. Say their names, contemplate on them. Fucking Tiwaz, Othala, Wunjo, Tiwaz, Othala, Wunjo. And just, connect that way. Even if you just, once a day, that is a transfer of energy right there. Right? Next, bind runes. I like my bind rune. I worked really hard on that. Should you use bind runes? Should you make your own? Can someone else make you one? Should you use what you found on the internet? Yes, you should use bind runes if you have something that you feel that strongly about that one rune doesn't cover. So this bind rune represents who I am as a person or who I want to be as a person. This sits on my altar. Has all the runes around it, but my bind rune in the middle. I specifically made that for myself. You should not use bind runes on the internet if you don't know what they mean. And because you didn't make them and you don't personally know who made them, you don't know what they mean. You can infer what they mean, but you don't know what they mean. Now, again, like I said, all of this is intent and energy. If you do use one off the internet, cleanse it and give it a new meaning. Or give it the meaning you think it means, but actually put the real power and the real energy behind that meaning. Don't just take it and assume it's correct, or assume it's good, or assume it's powerful, right? make it yourself, or have someone very close to you make it, or someone you trust. You can easily reach out to anybody who's been in the Norse community for a long time and who know about runes and rune magic and say, hey, I'd really like a bind rune. Talk with them. They're going to get your ideas. They're going to work with you. They're going to come up with something real good for you. Reasons to use bind runes. You could use Wunjo with Arido, with Isa, to remember your time in Iceland. Especially if you had a very good spiritual connection there with the gods and you want to put that on a tattoo, put that on a sigil for your altar. You can do that and give it the power of all three runes together to represent that time you had. You got to be really careful with bind runes because, again, energy goes in. People can do stuff with that because energy gets stuck in. Once you transfer energy in, the energy doesn't just come back out. It's gone now, right? The longer you have your runes, the longer you have your bind rune, the more energy is going to go into it, the more it's going to be helpful to you. So, that is about all I have to say about runes. If there's any questions, any comments, anybody wants to talk about them, hit us up in the comments. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about their beliefs. And again, these are my beliefs on the runes. You're more than welcome to have your own. I will leave us with one thing. It is in stanza 80 of the Havamal. Stanza 80 of the Havamal. That is then proven when you ask the runes, in which the gods are skilled, those which were made by great gods and painted by mighty lore masters. When you ask the runes, like I said earlier, when I pulled Isa, and didn't really like that, but it is what it is, I asked the runes, and they told me what I needed to know. To question that or to go against that would be foolish. I asked for assistance from the runes, that which the gods have crafted, that which the lore masters have painted. And I got my answer. It's very common for us to go, nah, I'm going to pull another one. And especially early on, you're going to want to do that. I suggest you try to not do that. Just kind of take it as it goes. I'm telling you, I tried when I started first off. I pulled a bad one. I don't want that. I want this one. I took it, and you know what? I still got the same result as the first one. But that was my experience. So, I will be back with another short later this week and talking about what we're going to talk about next time. Hopefully Lee gets back by then. Hit us up in the comments. Let's talk about runes. Your feelings, your thoughts. All right. Y'all have a beautiful one.